welcome to Shaggy's Car Shop. In this video today, we're going to cover what I have already done to my 69 Firebird. Now sadly, I don't have any videos for it, but I do have some pictures and I'll have some audio going over what I've already accomplished and some of the history of myself with this project. So without any further ado, let's get to the video. So I bought this car when I was roughly 18 to 20 years old, and it was in pretty rough condition. That summer I bought it, me and my friends tore it apart, and that's how it sat. It eventually got put out into a woodlot after it was torn apart in just the shell of the car, and it deteriorated further. Now I had a tree branch fall on the roof of it. Luckily it didn't damage any of the structure, but it did damage the roof. And it took me that long to get to it due to my job. I slowly bought pieces and got parts together until the summer of 2019, where I was finally able to bring it down to Mississippi, where I bought a house with a shop and start working on it. I started by removing the floor with a Sawzall, and then I cleaned up all the old pinch welds and old metal and seam sealer off of it. I found some old damage along the passenger side rocker panel where somebody must have put this car into a ditch and hit a small tree stump or fence post. Since the rocker panels on both sides were in very, very good condition, I decided I'm just going to order a replacement inner rocker panel and cut the old piece out and fit a new piece in. Then once everything was cleaned up, I coated everything in a good weld-through primer, fit the floor, and welded the floor pan in. Then I moved on to the trunk. So it was only the bottom part of the trunk pan that was really bad. I removed the old one, kept the fuel tank straps in there for a reference point, and welded in a new trunk floor pan. So after I installed the floor pan and the trunk pan, I moved on to the rear quarter panels. I started with the passenger side and cut that off. I inspected all the inner structure and cleaned all of that up and primered that. I only did one at a time so I could figure out my way through it, and so I could be able to reference how to put the panel back on the car and match it up with how the car was. Moving on to the driver's side, I found where somewhere back in the 70s or 80s or 90s, somebody had patched in a lower panel for that rear quarter panel and did a very poor job. Also, on the driver's side, there was some very old damage on the outer wheel well. I replaced both inner and outer wheel wells on both sides and mini-tubbed the vehicle. So after I installed the rear quarter panels, I moved on to the tail panel. Now when I removed the old tail panel, I found again more damage, probably from the 70s or 80s, and a ton of body filler. After I had that installed, I moved on to the deck filler panel, and then it was on to fitting my deck lid. Next, I worked on my damaged roof panel. I started by removing the old panel and assessing the damage to the roof braces. Then once I got the old roof panel off and the old roof braces out, I cleaned everything up and fitted my new roof braces, and I built an adjustable panel spreader so if I needed to pull in or push out my inner structure. Luckily, it wasn't damaged and was in its original place. Then I welded down the top flanges of my rear quarter panels and test fit and found my roof panel fit perfectly and welded it into place. So another thing I've done is I cleaned up the original subframe and painted that. I installed tubular upper and lower control arms QA1 coilover shocks, converted it to disc brakes, installed the BMR front sway bar, and it looks like it'll hold pretty good. Now the last thing I'm going to cover is my engine and transmission combination. So this engine originally started life as a 472 Cadillac motor. I rebuilt that probably in the summer or spring of 2014, and then, like I said before, I am mating it with a T56 Magnum. Later on, when I get into a different video, I'll cover more on what I've done to this engine, but trying to squeeze it into a first generation F-body is a little bit interesting. I had to create my own motor mount plates, and then I used original Cadillac motor mounts on those plates, and I had to squeeze it around a rack and pinion steering system conversion. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the progress so far, and there will be more videos to come. Thanks for watching Shaggy's Car Shop, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.